Tylenol sometimes, and that's probably what they gave before. Because that sounds right?
I don't think I have any of that.
No, we don't have any of that. So anyway, I think we can just call tomorrow and ask them. I don't think we have to take her in.
Okay.
Do you?
We'll see what they say, I guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think if we can call them and tell them it's the same thing they've given us before, it's not worth taking her in and what she goes through every time she goes there.
Right.
I mean, she loves getting in the car, but she knows she's going there.
We'll see what they say, I guess, right? All right. Looks like I'm live, and there's definitely a delay. I'm not talking to you, sweetheart. I'm talking to the computer. All right. Looks like I'm live, and there's definitely a delay. I'm not talking to you, sweetheart. I'm talking to the computer. See what they say, I guess, right? All right. Looks like I'm live. There's definitely a delay. What? They didn't have it. Yeah, okay. All right, so, what? Okay, so let me know that you can see me. Yeah, okay. See and hear me. And let's see. Nope, I don't want to hide the chat. Show chat. Okay, so let me know that you can see me. So it looks like there's 21 people watching. Here we go. Good, Varun. Awesome, awesome. Okay, looks like it's working. Great. So it looks like there's 21. Oh, hello, Nathan. All right, good. So you have, this is your tutorial. Looks like it's working. So you have to ask questions. And this is your time. So just chat questions in, and I'll do my best to answer them. So you have to ask questions. And this is your time. So just chat questions in, and I'll do my best to answer them. There's a lot of feedback. I don't know if you can hear it, but muting the stream. So, yeah, that's a good idea. I was just wondering what the problem was. All right, so let me, Jelly Sand, let me know if that helped first. All right. I muted my voice. Wouldn't it be nice if it were only that easy? And then, so let me know if that is working, Jelly Sand, whoever that is. I don't know who that is. Okay. All right, I just muted the feedback. We can hear feedback. All right. It's much easier to hear you now. Okay, good. I can't hear myself, but it's bad enough that I have to see myself, so that's fine. Okay, so engulfing is literally when one cell surrounds another cell. That's the easiest way to describe it, is just, I have a piece of paper here this time with pens that don't work. Great. So engulfing is how an amoeba eats. So let's say that's a cell, and it engulfs another cell. That's engulfing. And then when it has the cell inside of it, goes from here to here. Ooh, that's engulfing. Okay. So engulfing is just wrapping around it and absorbing it. Okay. Let's see. Transport proteins. Okay, so Farah asked what transport proteins are. So transport proteins are, wait a minute. Okay. So transport proteins are how active transport works. So there's two types of active transport. There's engulfing, which is what I just described, and then there's transport proteins. So it literally, when it's crossing the membrane, whatever the molecule is, someday I'll figure out how to screen share too, but we don't want to push our luck. So, okay, whatever molecule, usually a big molecule that can't get across the membrane, needs to get in, it goes in by a transport protein. And the transport protein kind of, it's almost like a revolving door, you know, that you go in there in the hotel or in an airport. And then the cell goes into it and then sends it inside the cell. It can't go by itself because either it's too big or it's going against the concentration gradient. So that's what a transport protein is. Okay, cell transport. Well, cell transport is what we've been studying. So to explain cell transport is, that's kind of a big topic. It's basically how do cells move around. And we said that passive cell transport is osmosis and diffusion because it doesn't require energy. And active cell transport is transport proteins and engulfing because it does require energy. So that's a very quick way to describe it. But Vinny, for you to say cell transport, that's a really big question. You're going to have to be a lot more specific than that. Yeah, I'm not doing Google Hangouts because I don't know, nothing personal, guys, but I don't really want to see you. It's like a giant Brady Bunch commercial. So there's no. Can you tell us every topic we have done from the beginning of the year? No. I mean, look at the review. Ali Mahmood. I am not going to tell you every topic that you learned over the year. You need to look at the review. Those are the topics, or look in your interactive notebook because that's where all your information is. So that was kind of a frightening question. Okay. So and then it says when a plant wilts, it just means that it's low on water and nutrients. Yes, but you need to be specific about what is low. And I think I drew this for you, but so this is a very simplified view of a plant cell. So notice it's rectangular because it has a cell wall, and that's a vacuole. Okay, and then when the plant gets low on water, the cell membrane starts to get weak, and not get weak, but it kind of starts to shrivel, I guess, because the vacuole, oh, this is nauseating, is losing water and getting smaller. So this is what it looks like without water. And then you add water, and it perks back up again, and then the plant comes back up. But it wilts because all those vacuoles are losing water. Okay, so can you explain tropism? So tropism is a plant's response to a stimulus. Anything that happens in the environment or inside to a plant, that's called a tropism. And then gravitropism is a plant's response to gravity, and phototropism is a plant's response to light. So when a plant is in the sun, it'll turn towards the light, so that's positive phototropism. If for some reason, can't think of a reason why, but if for some reason the plant moved away from the light, that would be negative phototropism. Gravitropism, a plant, the roots go down towards the center of the earth. That is positive gravitropism. The rest of the plant goes up towards the sun. That is negative gravitropism. So tropism is the response. Negative is away from the stimulus, which is like gravitropism, the stem and the flower is away. And positive is toward the stimulus. Okay. What is the function of a Golgi body? Okay, so Golgi bodies are to package and transport things, specifically proteins. But like I said, in 7th grade we simplify things, right? So we have a much more complicated definition for what the Golgi bodies do, but for 7th grade purposes, you need to remember that it packages and transports. Packages. And actually transports it to the endoplasmic reticulum, and then the endoplasmic reticulum transports things around the cell. So a lot of you made the mistake of switching endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi bodies on that quiz, where endoplasmic reticulum said transports materials around the cell. Golgi body says packages and transports. Anytime you see packages, it's Golgi bodies. Always remember, it's kind of like you go to the UPS store or whatever and they package up your stuff. That's the difference between Golgi bodies. Okay. What's the difference? Wait, I'm just going down to the different questions. Okay. Can you explain ribosomes, mitochondria, endoplasmic? No. It says, can you explain ribosomes, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, and lysosomes? Rosalind? I'm glad you're on the chat, but what specifically do you want me to explain? Because the tutorial is not supposed to be like giving you definitions. It's supposed to actually be helping you with something that you don't understand. So if you don't understand what they do, like what they do, but it doesn't make sense, then we'll do that. But if it's just to give you the definition, you can get that on Schoology. So if Rosalind, if you have specific questions, you need to ask that. Okay, what are lysosomes exactly? Okay, so there we go, Armand. So lysosomes gather and break down waste in a cell. Excellent. You guys are just answering each other's questions. I don't even need to be here. Shreya, we don't need to know Golgi apparatus. Golgi bodies and Golgi apparatus are the same thing. So don't think you don't need to know it. It's the same thing. We just try to confuse you and call it two different things. No, it's just the same thing. What type of cells go through a cell membrane? Cells don't go through a cell membrane. Molecules do. So I'm not sure, Vinny, I don't understand your question. Priyanka, levels of organization, cell, tissue, organ, system, organism. What's your question? I don't see a question there, Priyanka. Which cell has lysosomes in it, plant or animal? Both. Usually it'll say it's just animal, but it's my understanding that it's both, and ribosomes both. Let's see. Armand, so Golgi bodies packages and transports, and the ER only transports. Yes, that's true. Let's see. Oh, Jordan. Okay, got it. What are the 3 parts of cell theory? Okay, this is another example of me not just telling you the answer. If you have a question about one of the answers, Jeremy, then, oh, Hess, is that you, Addison? I recognize the last name. There you go. Armand answered it for you, but I'm not going to just don't ask me questions that are on the review and expect me to give you the answer, because that's not what tutoring is, right? It's not, tutoring is to clarify, not to give you the answers. And so I'm not going to do that. Okay. If mitochondrions make proteins, how many proteins will make in a day? Okay, it doesn't matter. Like how many proteins are made? It depends on the cell, and it has nothing to do with that wasn't on the review, so don't drive yourself crazy. Cell membranes are part of the cell. Okay, I don't, that was a comment, not a question. What do we need to know about the levels of organisms? Well, Priyanka, what was on the review? You need to know the levels of organization. So, what order does it go in? You just cells, cells, tissue, organ system, organism. That's what you need to know. A bunch of tissue a bunch of cells makes up tissue. A bunch of tissue makes up an organ. A bunch of organs make up organism, etc. Okay, Mrs. Walsh. There were no diagrams in the test review, but are we supposed to be prepared for diagrams of cells? Yes, you need to know what they look like and be able to diagram it. So structure and function, you should be able to identify it. When you label, how do you tell lysosomes and ribosomes apart? Lysosomes are bigger. And ribosomes, if you're looking for, depending on the diagram, remember ribosomes are also on the endoplasmic reticulum. So when you're looking for a ribosome, whatever the dots are on the endoplasmic reticulum, those are ribosomes. So anything that's a little bit bigger, it's more of a circle as opposed to a dot, would be a lysosome. What's the difference between smooth ER and rough ER? You should know this, but smooth does not have ribosomes and rough does. Okay. Yeah, difference between diffusion and osmosis. Okay, see, I'm concerned because we've been covering this for a while. You should know the difference, and it's on the review. So remember, I am not going to be I'm not going to give you the answers. I mean, if you, okay, wait. Oh, it's opposite. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh. Okay, I got this. Wait. It's really hard to stare at yourself for an hour. Like, it's really awful. You should know the difference between diffusion and osmosis. You really should. We've done a lot of that, and it's on the review. So the diffusion is all molecules going from high to low concentration. And osmosis is just water, and it has to cross a semi-permeable membrane. So that's the difference. Okay, what do Golgi bodies do? That is on the review. I'm not going to answer questions like that, okay? I already said it, and you should be asking questions for clarification. You know, tutoring is not like for me to spit out the answers. I said that already. It is to clarify. This isn't me like having like a verbal answer sheet. So you ask me and I just spit it out. That's not what tutoring is. It's clarification. So if you misunderstand something, that's one thing. But if you haven't filled out the review, I'm not giving you the answers. Do we have to label the cell on the semester exam? Yes, you do. There are diagrams of the cell, and it'll say something like, what is the function of number 12? And then, you know, obviously there'll be a 12 pointing to part of the cell, and you need to pick. It's all multiple choice, but you need to pick it. So, yes, absolutely, there are diagrams on the semester exam. Does endocytosis and exocytosis use energy? Yes. They are both active transport. Do we need to know parts of a microscope? Okay, were parts of a microscope on the review? Infinity Creator. Oh, that's Ivan. If it wasn't on the review, it's not on the semester exam. You need to know about how to find the magnification, but not the parts like the stage and the clips and you don't need to know that. But it's not on the review. It's not on the test. We don't sit around trying to make a test that you can't possibly, pass. That's silly. Okay. Let's see. What would happen to our body if we didn't have a stable internal environment? Well, that is kind of like the question, why is homeostasis important? So, what did you write, Priya? What did you write for that question? Why is homeostasis important? Jamie, what is endocytosis? So, cyto is cell, osis is movement, endocytosis is movement into the cell, exo, like exit, is out of the cell. On the diagram, are ribosomes all over the place or just on the ER? Yes. They are on the endoplasmic reticulum and free-floating around the cell. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you didn't maintain homeostasis, you would die. That's always our go-to answer for everything. It's a good one. Does osmosis go from high to low? Really? You got to look at your answer, Rishab. Look at the review and look at your answer. Okay, because that doesn't make sense. All right, if a cell was placed in a hypertonic solution, does the cell become okay. Varun, you are breaking the rules. Because remember, when we talk about hypotonic solutions, we're talking about the solution. Don't overanalyze the question, okay? It doesn't matter about the cell. All you're doing is you will have to decide whether the cell will shrink, stay the same, or swell. It doesn't matter what happens to the cell. Don't analyze it that way because it has nothing to do with the results. Let's see. I'm not telling you how many exam questions are on the exam, but GT has more than honors. I can tell you that. But nothing, I mean, you have to finish in the class time, so it really, there's not so much that you can't finish in a class period, because that's the expectation. Okay. Can you clarify excrete? Well, Ivan, what did you write for the definition of excrete? That's what you need to look that up on your review. And then if you're not sure, then ask me a specific question. But I'm not going to tell you what excrete means because we talked about it a lot. Again, I'm not giving away answers. I am clarifying. That's what tutoring is. Okay. No. Okay. So, no. Whoa. Okay. Excreting doesn't mean pooping. And to excrete is basically movement of waste or something exiting a cell. Yes. Waste, though, not poop. Okay. So, you may have heard of a waste basket instead of a trash can. That doesn't mean you poop in the basket, like it's a basket in the corner and you poop in it. Obviously, that's not the case. It is waste, meaning what you don't need. Let me give you an example. Photosynthesis, a waste product of photosynthesis, is oxygen. That's a waste product. That plants excrete oxygen. So if you're saying that excretion is poop, then you're breathing in poop, and that's gross. I don't want to breathe in poop. Cellular respiration, which is how animals make energy. A waste product of cellular respiration is carbon dioxide. That's what plants take in. Plants aren't eating poop. So get away from the whole poop thing. All right. No, okay. But we know that excretion is basically poop. It is not. Stop And then like pushing out waste. You're not pushing anything. When I breathe, I'm not like, whoo, like I'm just breathing. I'm just breathing and getting rid of waste. And when you're sweating, you're not like, oh, and then sweat squirting out of you. Like that sweating is getting rid of waste, and you don't push that out either. So get away from the whole pushing and pooping thing, people. I know you're 7th graders, but yikes. Okay. Okay, Rohan, I'm going to kick you off if you are off topic, okay? I'm just saying about singing a song. That ain't happening. I'm gone? What do you mean I'm gone? Oh. All right, am I back? Somebody tell me. You guys are crazy. I didn't, it's turning on and off over and over again. I didn't do that. I'm not looking at, the YouTube channel. I'm looking at the other thing. I'm not going to get into it. Okay. So let me see what's going on with the YouTube channel. Okay. Let's see if, yes, there is definitely a delay between, I don't know, it's like 8 or 10 seconds between when you type it, when I read it, but that's just the way it is. I don't have a choice on that. And I have it on the highest setting, so I think you're going to be okay. Just let me know if it goes off again, because I'm not looking at YouTube. I'm looking at the what's it called? I forget what it's called, but I'm not looking at that. All right. If we did not maintain homeostasis, then we would wilt, then die. Well, animals don't wilt. Homeostasis is important because if you're not in homeostasis, then your body is not getting something that it needs, or it's getting too much. And your body doesn't want that. So it needs to be just right, kind of like, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So you don't want to have too much water. And we learned that from the water overdose lab. And you don't want to have not enough, because that's dehydration. And, you obviously know what that means. Guys, you know what? The whole chat with between you needs to stop. Okay? This is tutoring only. So if you don't have a question, you can wait and watch in case somebody else has a question, but stop chatting with each other, because it's distracting to me. You know what that means. And annoying, actually, to everybody else. So, could you give a definition of internal and external stimuli and an example? Okay. So, internal stimuli. So, stimuli is something that creates a response. So, stimuli internal could be when you have, when you have a virus, that would be inside your body, and then your body's response could be a fever. It could be a stomach bug, so you start like vomiting because it's trying to get rid of the virus. So it's distracting because I'm watching this. So whoever YOTN squad is, if you have another off topic comment, then I will have to delete you from the chat. So the stimuli would be the virus, and the response would be either a fever or throwing up or something like that. External stimuli could be anything. Could be that it's cold. So you start to shiver. That would be the response. You touch something hot and your hand pulls away. That would be an external stimuli in response. Just remember that stimuli means something that creates a response by the organism. And then external is outside and internal is inside. Yeah, Pooja just asked, can hunger be an internal stimuli? Absolutely. Absolutely. Jeez, I just cannot look at myself for this long. Okay. All right, so let's see. Okay, YOTN squad, you're in a timeout. When you 300 seconds, I guess. So if you behave, you'll come back on if you behave, and if not, then you'll be deleted permanently. Okay. All right. So I'm trying to see. I'm looking back at the chat. So internal, external stimuli, hunger, yes. Active requires energy, yes. Oh my goodness, your Diet Coke. Yes, it's large and lovely. It's been that kind of day. Let's see. Active requires energy, passive doesn't, right? I can tell you that you need to know not only the vocabulary that we've gone over, right? Oh, there's my glasses. But you need to know independent, dependent variable, control, and constants. You will always have on any sort of cumulative exam, you will be asked those questions because anytime you do an experiment, there's going to be an independent, dependent, control, and constant, and you need to know those. So be prepared to be asked them on every single assessment. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. It really is so, and it's the opposite. So like I can't even like look at it and fix it like a mirror because it's the opposite. All right, I'll stop. So let's see. Yeah, well, guys, don't worry about don't worry about it. It really is not a big deal. The best thing to do is concentrate on what you need, because if you're being responsible, then just ignore it. Okay. All right. So don't sweat it. If somebody's being immature, and just don't pay attention to it. Seriously. What else? So anyway, I started to tell you, independent, dependent variable. It's really important that you know that. Make sure that you, if you were to be given, and don't ask me to give you an example because they're a pain to find, but if you look up independent, dependent variable, let me see, on the, I'm looking on Schoology, hang on. excuse me. Let me look on Schoology and see that there are practice things on there, because I think a lot of you use some of the resources that are on here, and a lot of you don't. And sorry, my computer's slow because I'm streaming. Okay, so let's see. Thinking like a scientist. All right. Parts of an experiment. Okay, so there are SpongeBob Scientific Method 1 and 2 in the Schoology course. And for the life of me, I don't remember how many of these we did. But yeah, I think, and I can't speak to what Miss Aguirre and Coach Wilson did. I assume, I mean, we do similar things. But look at those and practice those. You should be able to look at an experience, a procedure like a summary of an experiment, and say, and be able to say, oh, well, this is what the scientist is changing, so that must be the independent variable. So remember, when we were doing the game on Friday in my class, hang on, sorry. I will go back and look at your questions in 1 second, okay? So if you were looking at the summary of an experiment, and and I know what I was talking about. Sorry. See, it's not any better at home. Those of you who have me in class, you know what it's like. It's always an adventure. It's like one of those books that you read the book and you can like pick your adventure. You're like, go this way or this. Sorry. Anyway, so what was I saying? Okay, I got this. I swear. When we were doing this on Friday, and we were going over, remember I divided the review into parts, and a lot of you didn't get independent, dependent variable as quickly as I would have thought. And the key is to know that the independent variable is what the scientist changes. What you as the scientist, remember you're the scientist, so what do you as the scientist change? And then the dependent variable is what changes as a result of the independent variable. The control is the group that gets no special treatment. Because if you don't have anything to compare it to, how can you say that the experiment was a success or not, or whether your hypothesis was proven or not, if you don't have a group that didn't get whatever it was, the Miracle Grow or the blue water, or I don't know. And then constants are those, constants are those variables that are given to all of the groups the same. Because you can only change one variable. You change more than one variable, and then your data is really messed up. Okay, let's go back. All right. Okay, so if you get a stomach bug, is that an internal or external stimulus? It's internal, because I see what you're saying, Shreya, because you're assuming that the bacteria came from the outside, but it's inside your body and it's creating some sort of a response. So it would be internal. But remember, like I said, Miss Aguirre and Coach Wilson and I aren't sitting around like, oh, let's ask these really tricky questions, and they'll never be able to answer them, and then we'll trip them up and they'll get it wrong. Like we're not going to do that. Okay, so the questions on the test are going to be clear. I promise. Okay. All right. Does endocytosis use energy? Yes. But what if you get it from eating spoiled food or something? Okay, Shreya, yes. But I promise you, you're not going to get a question that could go either way, right? It's not, we're not going to, no trick questions, really, don't worry about that. Okay. Magnification on a microscope. So it is the lens times the objective. So if you're given the nose piece or the nose piece, oh my gosh, the eyepiece that you look through, okay, that is the lens, and then the objective are the things that you turn, low, medium, or high. So in our case, the microscopes that we have, the eyepiece is 10, and then each one of the objectives is 10, 40, 400. No, 4, 10, 40. 4, 10, 40. Okay, well, either way, you would multiply 10, which is what you're always looking through, times whatever the objective is on. So if it's 4, 10 times 4 is 40, right? If it's 10, 10 times 10 is 100. And if it's 40, 10 times 40 is 400. So that's how you figure it out. If you're given two numbers, you multiply them. Multiply, multiply, multiply. Vinny, what's the name of the jelly inside the cell? Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm, Vinny. Okay. When all solute is going in and out constantly. Oh, you're answering the question. Okay. All right. Did I miss any questions? I don't think so. Tropism is a plant's response to external stimuli. No. A tropism is a response to stimuli, not external. It could be, oh, why do I do that? Okay. I'm not going to look at the, okay. It could be something inside the plant too. So just tropism is a plant's response to stimuli. That's it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Love the hair. I know it's very, I know you don't care how I look, but I have to stare at myself. I don't care either, really. Clearly, this is not effort, but it's distracting. I'm sorry. Okay. Aman, what are the 4 things that make life possible on Earth? Well, Chinawali, what did you put on the review? Because I'm not putting it. I'm not telling you that's a question on the review. You need to know that. Okay, so gravitropism and phototropism are basically just different types of tropisms. Yes. Sorry. There's also thigmotropism. It's very cool. It's not on the test, but it's when a plant responds to touch, and there are plants outside by the track, which I'd hoped we were going to get out and look at. Maybe the frost got them now, but when you touch them, the leaves kind of bloop, they react to when you touch them. It's pretty cool. So thigmotropism would also be, I have wisteria we have a wrought iron gate in our driveway, and it's like wrapped around, the vine is wrapped around itself around the gate, around the wrought iron, to the point where it's like pulling on it. It's really strong. That is also thigmotropism, but you don't need to know that. So just thought I'd throw that in. Okay, let's see. When we're talking about gravitropism, plants go with it, and actual plant goes against it. Good. Yes. Nerds Wonderland. I love your name. So, Nerds Wonderland. When we're talking about gravitropism, plants go with it, and the actual plant goes against it. So, what is it called when it goes with it? I want to see you type that. With gravity. what's it called? And then when it goes away from it, what's it called? Okay, I was looking online, and is blood sugar an example of homeostasis? I don't really get it. Okay, don't. Yes, but remember, homeostasis is your body's. Remember, I think you guys are overanalyzing it a little bit, because your body is trying to maintain a stable internal environment regardless of what's going on the outside, okay? And that could be outside the body, it could be outside the cell, okay? It just wants to stay stable. Don't worry about blood sugar and all that stuff, Pooja. You're making it harder for yourself. You really are, I promise you. Don't do that to yourself, okay? Anything on the review is on the test. Anything not on the review isn't. Yes, Armand, that's exactly right. Stigmatropism is not on the test. That's what I just said, Varun. I said it's not on the test. I just thought it was interesting. So I guess I won't tell you anything interesting anymore. Like I said, we are not sitting around in a circle, like rubbing our hands together thinking, oh, where can we trip them up? Like, why would we do that? That doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I am taking Bunny Busters off the chat. You have 300 seconds, and next time there's some random question, then I will have to take it out, because it's ridiculous. Okay, so Mrs. Walsh, we are very concerned of what would be on the test, because from a student's view, it's like, what if this is on the test? Yeah, I understand that. I understand that there's a lot of unknowns, especially since you haven't taken a cumulative exam before. But I just want you to know that we don't ask questions that aren't clear. If it's not on the review, it's not on the test. I promise you. And if I can tell you this, it's happened before where a question got on the test, and as we were going through, sometimes, teachers because we make the test, we get kind of wrapped up in the, we know everything. No, we don't know everything, but we know what we taught, right? Hopefully. So if we might miss something, and then we're like, oh, oops, like, you're right, that wasn't on the review. So we would just take it off the test. Like, we wouldn't count that question, because that's just not, we just wouldn't do that. That would be really unfair. Okay. So I'm removing people now. Okay. Boys and girls, I'm asking that if someone asks a stupid question and you know what I'm talking about, then ignore them, please. Okay? Next time anybody asks anything like, do we have cells? I am going to delete that person. And it's too bad that there are people that are being disruptive. So just ignore it, and just do your best to ignore the people that are ruining it for other people. So I'm caught up. Also on Schoology, there are under, let's see. Hang on, under materials for, yes. Okay. All right, it's back. I know there's a clock in the background. It's really annoying. I know. It's, we gave it to my mother-in-law, and then when my husband cleaned out her house, we got the clock, and I can't stop it because it messes with the clock, and this is the best room for me to be in, so try to ignore it. I know, if I couldn't sleep in this room, I can tell you that it would drive me insane. So just ignore it. All right. Let's see, what other questions, people? I could play Christmas music in the background, or Queen, or all right, so what was the helpful hint with, wait. Okay, so tips or tricks we could use on the science. I asked my mom. Well, you know, I know that when teachers talk to you about test taking strategies, and you're all like, yeah, whatever. But the reason why we do it is because it works. So it's really important that you read every question and the answer choices very clearly before you make your choice. Because if there are some similar answers, and it's at A, and you choose A, but the better answer was D, then you're going to make a mistake, obviously. So make sure that you know what the question is asking. And you may have to read it more than once. Also, you will be given a class set. No. You will be given your own set of tests tomorrow. So you can cross out, make notes, whatever, using those test-taking strategies that you've learned in school. So as you're going through, you can underline what you think the question is asking. You can cross out the answers that you know are wrong. And then you might get down to just 2 answers. And then you have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. But always make sure that you know what the question is asking. Because you can get tripped up like that. Let's see. All right, I'm looking back at okay, good way to remember hypo and hypertonic. Science had to make them start with the same letter. Yeah, but if you remember, there's a prefix, hypo and hyper. So hyper is a lot, over, like energy, somebody is hyper. Hypo is under. So, and we're talking about the solute. So hypertonic solution has a lot of, say, salt in it, so there's not as much room for water. So a hypertonic solution, it'll pull the water out into the solution because it wants to be equal, so it'll shrink. So, and then hypo means there isn't as much solute in it. Under, hypo means under, or lower, less than. So it will, the water will go into the cell because there's less in the cell, and the cell will swell. So I also think of hypo as like hypo, and that's the cell swells. That's the best way I can get you to help it. All right, engulfing, I already answered that. So it says hyper, there is more solution out of the cell. No, there's more solute. So meaning salt or sugar, but not solution. It's going to, it could be the same, could be 500 milliliters of a solution, But a hypertonic solution has a lot of salt or sugar in it. A hypotonic solution doesn't have much. But remember, it's still 500 milliliters of a solution. Don't say water because that'll mess you up. So if you only have room for 500 milliliters and there's a lot of salt, there's not going to be as much water. If you only have a little salt, there's going to be a lot more water because you have to think of the solution as individual molecules. Okay. My goodness, it's really, that's too bad. Okay. Okay, so Christopher Taylor, I just reported you to YouTube and deleted you from the chat. What? Wow. Okay. What is engulfing? Yes, so consuming something else whole, a cell surrounding and swallowing another cell. Good job, Renee. Good job, Amy. Okay, so I guess Christopher Taylor is a real person. So if he's in somebody else's class or if you know who he is, that would be great. I will take care of that. Let's see. Can you explain inference? So an inference is when you use previous information to make an educated guess. An observation, you use your five senses, and an inference is, so say there is a ball outside of a window and it's sitting on the sill and the window is broken. You can infer that the ball hit the window and broke it because you have seen that may have happened in the past because you're using prior knowledge. But your observation would be there's a ball, there's a broken window. Like that's not an inference, but your inference is that that's what broke the ball. Okay, it's officially the best decision I've ever made. Thank you for that. I'm great. Yeah, but an inference is an educated guess. All right. I need to sign off. If you have any other specific questions, please let me know. I will be kind of on and off email. I'm not going to be like hanging on, waiting with bated breath to see if anybody needs anything. But I will. I'll be available if you have any questions. You really should not need any help because like I said, it's really straightforward. Don't torture yourself. Don't make it harder than it needs to be, okay? Look at the review. Make sure you know the parts of the cell. Make sure you know hyper, all that stuff. Independent, dependent variable, all that. But we are not going to be doing any tricky questions. I promise. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and just have a good breakfast and don't freak out on me, people, because it's really not going to be hard, I swear. All right, so I am going to sign off, and I hope this was helpful. You guys are awesome, and get some sleep. Bye.